I've already reviewed him. Today, my deep dive into the McFarlane Digital Silver Age Superman continues with an entire video's worth of comparisons. A little later in the video, I'll also be taking a quick look at the DC Multiverse Gold Label Orion, courtesy of McFarlane Toys. Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation. Before we begin, just a quick peek behind the scenes at how the sausage is made. In a normal review, I limit the number of comparisons to between 21 and 25. I organize them and then line them all up in a tub, and then as I'm filming, I drop them in an empty tub to put away later. I've only ever needed to use one tub, but there are so many comparisons that I want to do. Today, I ended up with 4. I feel like an old cereal commercial. You would need 4 tubs of comparisons just to equal one 5 POA video. So that's what today is going to be. All comparisons. For our first tub, we're going to be looking at villains and other members of the Superman family. What better way to kick off the #1 Superman tub than with Superman's #1 villain, Lex Luthor. Here we see him in his power suit. Next, and here we have Atomic Skull, also in Lex Luthor's power suit, and Metallo, also in Lex Luthor's power suit. When it comes to Metallo, I also like to use this McFarlane Toys Warhammer Necron Warrior. For one of my favorites, here's the Page Puncher's Brainiac. I like this one as a souped up version of his robot form, but then here we have Injustice 2. Next up is General Zod. Here we have a couple of versions of Bizarro. Stick around for my head swap video because I'm going to be including Bizarro here as well. I'll also be including Cyborg Superman here. A more classic one has been revealed at WonderCon, but this more modern one is still pretty cool. Before the Red Platinum was announced though, I managed to buy this from a seller in Canada. It's a custom Cyborg Superman. The base body is Justice League Task Force, with the arm and leg coming from Cyborg or Murder Machine. The creator did a fantastic job on this, and sculpted the extra pieces. I'm not sure if he sculpted the head himself or if that came from somebody else. I just know it looks great. It's an incredible piece and I just had to showcase it. For one of Superman's most larger-than-life villains, and here we have Lobo, and then here we have the multiverse punching Superboy Prime, bringing us to Connor Kent and the Superman family. If you prefer your Con-El to have a bit more 90s flavor, here you go. Leading nicely to John Henry Irons, the Man of Steel. Jumping ahead though, and here's the Super Son, John Kent, and then here we have the DC Essentials version of Supergirl, along with the gold label Target version. Speaking of larger-than-life characters, here we have Kara grown up in the form of Power Girl, and of course Superman's best friend, Krypto the Super Dog. This is a perfect transition to Superman's real best friend, tub #2, Batman. Not to be confused with Superman's best pal, Jimmy Olsen. I haven't taken him out in a while, but I thought it would be interesting to see how this Superman looks with the NECA Batman. I've also been curious about DC Essentials Nightfall Batman. Moving squarely to McFarlane though, and here we have a couple of Detective Comics 1000s. I'm guessing that nobody really uses these in their main display anymore, but if you do, let me know in the comments. For a more appropriate comparison though, and here we have Silver Age Batman. Though I do have an asterisk. Several of you very astutely pointed out in the comments that this isn't really a Silver Age Superman. Really, it's more Bronze Age. A truly Silver Age Superman would be based more on the artwork of Wayne Boring or especially Kurt Swan. Even so, these two look very nice together and the blues match great, and if you paired that blue with the light gray on Nightfall Batman, you'd have a pretty spot-on Superpowers version. I like the dark blue and gray of the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive version. Still, I know some of you prefer black and gray, so here's that. But for the 10 of you that managed to nab the Norm Brayfogle version, well, here's that. Switching over to a different body style though, and I know a lot of you like 3 Jokers as your main Batman. Here's the JLA version in black. I know that even more of you prefer the Hush Batman. This Superman looks great with the blue and gray, but I really like the contrast of the black and gray. Even so, the Platinum Edition Spawn crossover version is really great too. For me though, the ultimate side-by-side has got to be Year 2. This thing is one pair of pointed boots away from being the closest we have to a DC Multiverse Superpowers version. For those whose tastes scale a bit more modern though, and here's the diminutive DC Rebirth. And for those who want something a bit more realistic, here's Batman Noel. For a couple of video game versions, and here's Arkham Knight and Arkham City. I know some of you use Arkham City as your main display Batman. For a couple of live action options though, and here's the ultimate 6-pack version of Michael Keaton. This comparison is mainly for those who'd like to use this Superman body to beef up their Christopher Reeve. For one more though, and here's Batfleck with a shorter neck peg for those those who like using him as their main display Batman. And lastly, this one is just for me, my custom kit bash combining 3 Jokers and Hush. Batman brings us to tub number 3, the Justice League. Starting with the last member of the Trinity, and here's a couple of DC Direct versions of Wonder Woman, but of course the most important comparison is the McFarlane Collector Edition. I don't have the Platinum Edition, but I do have this digital mock-up, bringing back Batman Year 2, and here's the most superpowersy version of the Trinity, but since most of us never got the Platinum, here's the regular version, and for those who don't have Year 2, here's Nightfall, here's that with the Platinum version, but then for just one more Batman, here we have Hush, and then one more time, here's the Standard Edition. For a couple of Rebirth Dianas though, and here's DC Essentials and Shazam, Fury of the Gods, there is a rumor that we're getting Wonder Woman with an Atomic Breath Godzilla variant, and if that's the case, it would be Rebirth Wonder Woman. Rounding out the rest of the team is Barry Allen in Flashpoint and Rebirth versions, though we do still need a 90s comic style Wally West. Going hard for Green Lantern though, and here's NECA and Silver Age versions of Hal Jordan, along with the Dawnbreaker 2-pack and Gold Label Walmart versions. Using that same body, and here's the Endless Winter John Stewart, and the first appearance John Stewart from the JLA wave. John Stewart uses the same body as Kyle Rayner, seen here in a couple of different shades of green, and of course we'd be remiss if we forgot about Simon Baz, and at this point, what the heck, here we have Guy Gardner. Also, I know I'm a bit behind, but videos on these guys are coming. As for Aquaman, my preference is Endless Winter with an alternate Barry Allen head, unless of course you can hook yourself this 90s style JLA version. For some other members of the main team over the years, here's Martian Manhunter from the JLA era, Black Lightning from the Justice League of America era, the Red Tornado also from the Brad Meltzer run, really hoping that with Hawkgirl coming that we get the rest of this lineup, and Cyborg during the New 52 and Rebirth eras. Cyborg is a great segue to characters who appeared in the Superpowers collection. Characters like Orion. Orion is a Target exclusive, and McFarlane Toys was kind enough to send me one to check out. This son of Darkseid is a repaint of the JLA Wave Electric Blue Superman, which itself is a retooled version of Page Punchers. That's appropriate, seeing as how Orion has the strength, speed, and endurance of Superman, combined with the Astro Force. Pretty much is a combination of Superman and the Silver Surfer. For the most part, the costume has been painted well, with the silver in particular being very vibrant. Strictly speaking, his neck should be bare and he should have a blue collar, but I'm very pleased with the helmet, complete with its Jack Kirby-esque flourishes. That bucket helmet means he can look up just fine. He's also got great bend on the knees and elbows, and while he can't really hunch forward, I don't mind as much this time, mainly because I'm only ever going to display him in his Astro harness. The sculpting on this is great, with more of that Jack Kirby goodness. They even went in and put peg holes in the footrests. That, of course, is for the included figure stand. Orion also comes with a trading card, though no other accessories. If you look closely, there actually is a bit of shading on the harness, though I do agree with others that it could use some more paint. Still, for a $25 store exclusive, I'm pretty happy. And hey, are you a fan of the Jeff Loeb, Michael Turner Supergirl story? Then you'll be happy to know that the Astro harness fits on Nightfall Batman and Hush, though admittedly it's a bit more snug. Now, if we could just get Big Barda. As of this recording, Orion is only $13.79 on Target.com, link in the description below. Huge thanks to McFarlane Toys for making this portion of the video possible by sending me this figure to review. Back to characters who appeared in the original Superpowers collection, however, and here we have Plastic Man, Firestorm, hoping we get one with a brighter yellow at some point, Green Arrow, this might be Longbow Hunter, but it's the closest we have to the classic, the Platinum Edition Hawkman, and Captain Marvel. But lest we forget the Superpowers collection villains. Villains like the Joker, this Superpowers-inspired version of Mr. Freeze, and our very own Super Amigo, the Riddler. For those wondering about Penguin, though, I unfortunately never found the Platinum version of him. For a couple of larger scale characters, though, and here we have Calabac, along with this classic Superpowers-inspired Darkseid. But moving out of Superpowers and back to something more Superman-specific, here we have Mongol, and of course, the near unstoppable Doomsday. As someone whose tastes skew classic, this is perfect perfect for me, but Superman's true greatest power might just be a clean, simple design that fits in just about anywhere. Lastly, our fourth and final tub, which I'm calling And the Rest. First, and since Mattel is taking over DC, here we have He-Man and Randy Orton. Randy was a gift from friend of the channel, JB Toyman Figure Reviews. I'll include a link to his channel below. Next, and for some 7-inch scale Marvelous comparisons, here we have Marvel Select. This Captain America is the Disney Store exclusive and not that new one, but when I get it, you can be sure that I will do a comparison. Beyond that, for our only really vintage style Marvel Select Iron Man, and here's Silver Centurion, I do hope we get the red and gold at some point. Next up, and for a fellow red cape enthusiast, we have the Mighty Thor and the Incredible Hulk. For just a couple of merry mutants though, and here we have Wolverine, long overdue for an update, and then here we have a nice classic Storm. For a couple of comparisons of cosmic proportions, and here's the Silver Surfer, the Mad Titan, Thanos, and Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel. Marvel Select, of course, is the perfect segue to our standard relative size comparison with Pete the Spidey and the spectacular Spider-Man. And lastly, and as always, here he is with Stealth Iron Man. Yeah, didn't we already do this? If you've enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more like it, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss part 3 of my Silver Age Superman series, Head Swaps. For more Superman videos while you wait, check out one of these, and until next time, play nice and have fun.